It's a very confrontational record, but I think people responded to that. There was a real passion in it that people responded to. But it's interesting because it's almost Frank Zappa-ish in its sense of parody, in the way she plays with different time signatures.
After the slow and complicated production of The Dreaming, the record was finally ready for release in the September of 1982. At the point of its release, the record did not receive universal acclaim, and to this day remains an album that divides its listeners.
Kate has always said, EMI saw it as my mad record. They saw it as a commercial suicide note, and in a sense, because that was the feeling in the record company, you know how these things have their effects, it was sort of self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm sure they put some work into it, but they weren't working with confidence, to say the least. And so that will have played into it being a commercial failure.
I don't feel it went away from the mainstream. I mean, whenever you make an album, you just do it and you hope all the songs are good and that you're trying to express what you want at that time, and I feel that I've done that, certainly with the last 3 albums.
But I have to say, with the benefit of just, you know, the 23 years of hindsight, that I think bad reviews were a terrible mistake. That is a really powerful album. Some say it's her best, and I think that's a good argument. I might think it's her best on reflection. Some of those tracks are just knockout. The title track, what a piece of work that is. The Dreaming is taken from the dream time, the Aborigines' dream time, their walkabout time, their spiritual wandering that they do, as we've been advised in no end of documentaries. And so she took that idea and then looked at the politics of it, how the Aborigines have been dispossessed of their land when we colonised Australia. She does that, amazingly enough, in a rather odd comic setting, which to my mind doesn't devalue the subject matter or the argument. She brings in Rolf Harris to play Didgeridoo.
Sorry, there's one very famous Australian featured on this album who you're not used to finding on rock records. Rolf Harris.
Yes.
This is correct, is it? He plays the didgeridoo on that track.
Yes, he does. I think it's interesting how people sort of go, Rolf Harris.
Well, it's not the sort of person used to singing credits, you know.
No,
he's not often mentioned on this programme.
No.
But he is a very good didgeridoo player, which is why we used him.
With both the album and single receiving critical flack, Kate retreated from the public gaze once more. She would remain silent for 3 years, working on what has become widely seen as her masterpiece. During this time, she designed and built her own studio, allowing her more flexibility in terms of her recordings.
You went away on your own terms to make this LP, didn't you?
Yes, I wanted to make sure that we got our own studio together. That was the next move, really. I spent a lot of time on the last album, moving from studio to studio, and now we've got our own place and everything is brilliant. It makes such a difference.
Kate would finally return in the summer of 1985 and present arguably the most complete and powerful work of her entire career. This new period opened up the release of Running Up That Hill in August 1985. It quickly rose to number 3 in the charts, making it her most successful single since Wuthering Heights.
Rather like Wuthering Heights, EMI did not want this song as a single. She fought them for it, and again she won, with a slight compromise that they changed the title because it was originally called Deal with God.
Running Up That Hill, of course, officially, the title is Running Up That Hill, brackets, Deal with God. And that's really important. The brackets is Kate Bush stamping her foot and protesting, because that Deal with God is her title for that song. She insists, she still calls that song Deal with God. That was one she lost in her endless disputations with EMI, friendly disputations, creative disputations. That one she lost, though.
Running Up That Hill is a great record, period. And it is her biggest single in Britain since Wuthering Heights, gets to #3, and it is her first top 30 single in America. It's very accessible. And here, the synthesizer is used in a very atmospheric way. She manages to really create an atmosphere of longing and quest.
This astonishing thing is happening, a deal with God, to swap identity with someone. Again, one of these, you know, just toss it away, sort of little ideas for a pop song. So you're going to swap identity with someone so that you can see the world from their point of view. And how would that work out? You know,